Thank you, Allison, for facilitating the progression of order from the field of love. As I was searching for my words, but it wasn't words, it was the wisdom structure. So I thought I would facilitate that this morning with Heinz's words of imagination. And so it's permission, giving yourself permission to imagine, to dream of the coulds. From the question, ask yourself, what do I want? What do I dream? What do I desire? Build an imagination, a movie.
I'll describe a little scene outside of the coulds of what one wants. I have a squirrel right up on the uppermost branch of a very old crab tree. So the branch is not very sturdy. And this squirrel is hanging on for dear life. And he's still finding old berries that are dried up on that tree. There are no leaves left anymore on any of the trees that have got leaves, excepting the firs, of course. And it's about -1, maybe -2 outside. It's not too cold, but it's snowing. And as you were saying, what you were saying, Jessie, in terms of, putting that all together and using one's imagination, I was watching the squirrel doing what he needs to do on a very cold day, and admiring his tenacity and thinking to myself, he obviously knows the perfect order in which to do things.
Morning, Tindwell.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good morning.
Good morning.
welcome you into the structure of wisdom.
Thank you.
Facilitating order from the field of love. From the future of what is yet to be created. Through your imagination of what you can create. Practicing, asking, imagining what it is we want. What we desire.
I love the question, what do you want? I was asked that over 20, maybe 26 years ago. And I hadn't been asked that in a long time. So I hadn't answered it in a long time. And when I did answer it, I was obviously living in a very linear space. Because when I answered it, I didn't even realize the way I was answering it. I was answering what I felt I needed, not what I wanted. And even just to be in a space of saying that you need something. From this space I'm in now, I can see that when we say we need something, I was not living from that space of being endowed to create. To grasp and knowing that the universe supports me. And it's driven more by what I want than by what I need. Because need is lack, when actually everything, even up to this second, as in that second, was supplied. Living in such a limited mindset, like needing permission to even imagine, to even know worthiness, to enjoy the expansion of what do you want. Because out of wanting is the contribution to the universe, the very elements that supply the needs. And so today my word is manifest. And I'm receiving that word as a gift from the universe. Not to just know the word or to spell it like in a spelling bee. Not because it's edgy to be a manifester or a creator. But I take the word manifest as a gift. It's a gift. And I don't take it as a responsibility because that puts me in a linear state again. But I take it as a gift to be aligned with creation. That I naturally and organically and authentically create from my wants and not from the limitation of my needs. This thing of mindset is like, you hear it everywhere. Mindset, it's your mindset, it's your mindset. But today, as I received the word of manifest, I take it as my soul set. Where is my soul set? What direction am I setting my sails for my soul to sail and contribute to the waves that I create as I sail, as I go toward that which calls me to contribute, to manifest, to be, because that's what satisfies my soul. That's what I want. So all of these things that I pass by as I sail, some things matter to me, some things don't. That's okay. But as I sell and I meet others that sell, as I come here and you all are setting your sails on the high seas, the calm seas, and even the rough seas is where we set ourselves to go for what we want. We create, and our waters glide and collide, and we leave ripples, and we create. I got a gift today in the word manifest. And I'll let my wants fulfill as I go in the direction of my soul desires on the high seas. And truly manifest, not just for my dream state, but putting in the work to set the sails, to lovingly repair the sails, to fortify weak areas. And not that the weak areas are not weak, it's just areas of growth and attention that gives more vigor and strength and prosperity and posterity to even be alive. I thank the universe, and so I thank Total Source for giving me this word today. And for all of you, you all are such a gift. Manifest.
Thank you for sharing, Sindrell.
That was really expensive work, expanding a lot in the heart.
Thank you, Hans. I needed to be here. This is a special place of alignment.
Thank you for adding so much more color.
That's
As
the
if
right
there's
word. Sorry.
Go ahead, Allison.
No, I was just trying to find the word, and the word is color.
Color to the
Yeah.
desired state.
Little red coat showed up today.
Mhm.
In all her glory. You know what came to me as you were speaking, Cinderella, is even as your soul prospers, and I heard a calling today. To reorder life. Choose to reorder life
Mhm.
from the field of love.
Yes.
Yeah. Field of love was a new phrase to me. Thank you, Allison.
Mhm.
Yeah, to manifest soul prosperity in the earth realm. And the awareness that we can do exactly that. We can choose exactly that. Quote, let my wants fulfill my soul's desires, unquote. The squirrel knows the perfect order in which to do things.
Mm.
Is that the wisdom structure? Coming to life from the field of love?
Always, not always, but when I started working with Jesse, after a while, I realized that I had a new understanding for myself of wisdom. And it was that wisdom came from the laws of nature. And the laws of nature do come from love. So I would think that the structure of wisdom is love, yeah.
As you were answering, Allison, I was able to easily say amen and amen.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, it is to explore, discover, imagine a future, a desired state. The more focused that can be when sort inside of a domain, is the specifics of it. And as we allow ourselves to flow into that future desired state, become it, have it now, we can look from that future, from that desired state back to the current reality in attention and ask, what do we need to do? Who do we need to be? What is it today? What is a step towards that? And again, that's just inviting the field of love to provide an answer.
Yeah, but I needed that reminder today as well. How simple. How simple.
Yes. It's a practice, yeah.
Thank you, Jesse.
So I'm thinking of this squirrel
It's
in its
beautiful.
natural state.
Yeah.
And I'm getting that wisdom is us getting to our natural state, being in our natural state.
Yeah.
Because we all love. And it's not worry about about anything. It's not worried about need. Mm. Oh my goodness. Mhm. And when manifesting, fulfilling wants involve the engagement of other people's contribution, like it's great when you have a tribe or you're working with someone and they're working on the same things you're vibing with to manifest too. It is awesome. But sometimes and many times you still have to make sure you're on your own set sails to make sure that you're contributing where you're called to contribute and not just give way to the winds or the whims that can take you off your course, because then you'll expand and expend a lot of energy in the manifestation waves of someone else. And it's okay if you know that you're choosing to do that. It must come from a place of wisdom and choice to do that, and to be aware what it's giving or taking. As long as it's with love, I believe it's okay, but it's still, even love can't be whimsical. It comes from wisdom. Acts of love still must come from wisdom. Not carelessness. Mm.
I think that's for me, that's why I like to use the word compassion.
Mm.
Just in the English language, it speaks more to that kind of love that you are speaking to.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I think it's just about the popular use of love in terms of romance.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more than that, really, I think. But for me, compassion really speaks to rising above in a way that you can embrace all that is. In other words, that you can embrace contrast and you can value it. You know, that when you see that you're stumbling, that you can go, oh wow, I can see it. Rather than, oh shit, what am I doing again?
Been there. Oh my God, how'd I end up here? Oh my goodness. Thank you for the recognition. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, many acts of love can be meaningless. You know, have no substance. A lot of times we can't tell the difference.
Oh my goodness. So we can't tell the difference. So it's like you got two loaves of bread, and one is like so-called organic, and it's fortified. It was made with love. Some extra herbs were put in there to fortify the body, you know. And this other loaf of bread is refined flour processed on a in machinery and packaged on machinery and preservatives. And so you got these two loaves of bread, And they will both like fill that hole in your stomach for hunger. But it doesn't fortify you like the one that was needed and made with love and, just a little extra something put in it because it's winter and it's, some extra herbs were added to it to fortify the body more, to build an immune system more for the season. So some experiences are just things in, filling your time up, but not fortifying your soul.
Mm. That's a really nice distinction to make.
Yeah, and learning the difference.
It's like spending 40 years on a job that doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, it a paycheck. So it looks like you're doing and meeting the responsibilities that need to be met so that you're a responsible citizen of society based on cultural standards. But your soul is just dormant. And that's what makes you go to work one day and stand at the door and unloosen your collar and say, I'm not doing this anymore. And then someone asks you the question, what do you want? Because you've been answering the need. I need a paycheck. 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 What do you want? I want to coach a little league team. That doesn't make sense. You'll never get paid doing that. But to pour inspiration into another child, to tell them that they can go further than I go and put that, activate that seed of faith in them and start asking them at a younger age. Because kids will tell you what they want. Mommy, I want a lollipop. Mommy, I want to ride on the merry-go-round. Mommy, I want. Daddy, can you get blah, blah, blah? And to help them never forget to answer, what do they want?
And to ask themselves, hey, Sandra.
Yes. And so then Jesse talked about holding that tension. because it's in holding the tension that we integrate our action to manifest that who we are for that which we want.
That was also a good reminder for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and making sure that we take action that's meaningful.
Can be silly too.
Well, silly is meaningful, actually.
Yes. And it's the imperfect action that counts. The more we can do that, the more we get towards what we want. I felt so blessed to be able to pass that phrase of imperfect action on to a young woman who's taken up a teaching position, and we were in conversation, and so she was asking me about how to deal with kids in a way that's encouraging to them, because most of her students have come from quite traumatic home environments.
Mm.
And I thought of you, Sindrel, with all your teaching. And I said to her, maybe the most important thing is to encourage imperfect action. And she loved the phrase. So that was really good, because she didn't want to use the word that mistakes. She said, I don't want to use the word mistake. So I said, well, use imperfect action. And her whole being lighted up. And I think because it was also landed for her in terms of that it's fine to be making mistakes in the beginning. What, things that she would have preferred not to have done. And the message that I had for her then was just that she needed to trust her own heart in terms of where she was coming from, and that the kids know that. And she could see that. She said, yes, I can see that.
That's a wonderful lesson of life that I didn't really tap into until late.
Myself too, very much so.
But I came to appreciate the process of the scientific method. And there's this cleaner called 409. Formula 409. I'd have to look the story up to give it to you precisely, but the gist of it is they were trying to make something and they kept failing and kept failing and kept failing.
Hmm.
And they kept tweaking and failing and tweaking and failing. And if you think of it, you know, scientifically, like that's what happens in a lab.
Absolutely.
You're trying things to get an end result. And the person never end up creating the thing that they thought that they were making. And they came up with this great cleaner and they called it Formula 409 because it was after 409 trials that they came up with something that had a perfect usage. It was a wonderful mistake. That wasn't a mistake. It was a purpose. The same thing happened with Post-it notes. It's like this glue isn't working. But there was a different purpose for the degree of the glue that it was. Now, what would we do without Post-it notes?
Exactly.
It even applies to like sales. When you make 100 phone calls, and when you turn it around to the game of get 20 no's in 20 minutes, you'll get one yes. You'll get one person to answer the phone, but you can't get to the one if you don't get through the 19.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the law of nature, which is the squirrel back to love. How many times does couples have, on average, have to have intercourse before there is the timing to bring forth a new life? A lot is lost in the process of a lot to be gained, but the loss was for no purpose. It was part of the process, part of the waves in the sea, part of the winds that drives the sails, the ship to the shore. You tell her, keep going, sweetheart. You are on the right path. Just because she asked the question, it already shows her intentions. And just hang on to her intentions.
That's why it's so important to have clarity of our intentions.
Mm-hmm. And you tell her she does not have to stay in those waters until she is beaten down. She serves no purpose beaten down.
Mm.
She can pick up her ship and go where she can have the greatest impact. And don't let a system chain her down.
Mm.
Because we give from overflow so beautifully. But when we give, when we have nothing even to sacrifice,
Mm.
we end up giving an empty loaf of bread with nothing fortified.
Yes, I've had that experience.
She's blessed to have you. Offer her that wisdom of permission now.
Yeah. It's so interesting how we limit ourselves in terms of permission, right?
Mm.
And then tell ourselves we aren't, or we don't limit ourselves.
I'm laughing because you always come up with another level, Jesse.
Ah.
I don't know how he does it.
Mm.
It's the difference maybe in the mindset of I don't do that, or I wonder where I am doing.
Mm. Mm.
As we look at the 3 steps of structure, what do I want? And we can fool ourselves in that answer and or avoid it or really engage it. Our tendency is to not go there, is to limit that. And if you think about that, it's like, why do we need to limit that? So that's the first step. And then a key component to it that adds to the complexity of why it's so difficult is that the process is to feel that. So to create a feeling and an emotion about that desired state, name it, put a name on that feeling, because the more we can train ourselves to that feeling, to that desire, to that want, the more we'll live it today, the more we'll have it now, which is step number 2. It's like, oh, what is the emotion? What is the current reality? Is it different? So often our measures of what we want are in the material things, or environments or circumstances, not the emotion. Well, everything comes from the emotion, the feeling. So when the feeling of the desired state matches the feeling of the current reality, that is manifesting. And step 3 is always the next step, the action, the taking of it in that direction, the imperfect steps that bring new light to that end result, that desired result, one step closer, and it will change. Not drastically, not big, just different spaces open up as we take that action towards it. Because we all think we have to have a clear view, a focused, intense, a real good picture of where we're going. In all reality, just a general direction following a feeling. And I'm sure that squirrel didn't want to be on the edge of that branch.
Yeah, I barely can see to the horizon, more or less beyond the horizon. So I appreciate you clarifying that. You know, you may not see clearly everything.
That's where the emotions and that silence of learning and practicing as many times a day. What do I want? Aligning it. What would that feel like? What emotion would it give me? Because then we can sit in the current reality today and say, what action is going to give me that feeling? And that builds the guide. That's the guide for the structure of wisdom. That's the guide to the field of love. That's the guide to the passion that's in unique passion inside of all of us. Just waiting to come out, to be manifested. And it's not uncommon to resist that answering the question, what do I want? It's easy to go to, what do I need? Because that's where we've spent most of our energy. That's where everyone has told us what is. That we can't have what we want. We need to focus on what we need. And ever since that child, you've been told not to listen to what you want. That's why it's such a shortcut. And that's why there's so much resistance to it. We've got to take action anyway. Might as well be aligned for what we want.
Mm. That brings to mind Mo Godet's phrase of how do you want to spend your heartbeats? So what comes up for me again with while you were talking, Jesse, was, and with Sandrel's, pointing out that to manifest from what you want is way more effective than from what you need. And so I was thinking about my generation's parents, and many of them were kids during the Second World War, or young people. And so what you needed was fairly important. And that's great to have the skills to create what you need is very important, but it doesn't have to stop there. And I think that's, again, for me, an example again of, like you said, that we don't realize that we can have so much more and that we can be so much more. And honoring our skill to be able to provide for ourselves is part of that. And loving them. But it's reminding people to look beyond that. And like Sandel said, when you create from what you want, you contribute so much more into the field, which facilitates others being able then to fulfill what they need. So that was how I was listening to it all. To support the body and nurture the body and shelter the body takes an enormous amount of skill and commitment, even if it is unconscious. But for me, the secret is to realize that we are capable of much more than doing only that. And so therefore we come up to that. For me, then we come up to the importance of honoring joy. And for me, that's a lot about what does one want? I don't know of many people that would say no to joy.
Yeah, replacing those limiting thoughts that are running in our heads constantly. The excuses, the reasons why, the why we can't, the worries, and replace that with what do we want? What do I want? What would I love? And recondition that thinking to be in that direction.
Mm.
Washes out the overwhelm, the doubt, the worry, the stress, and replaces it. And at first, nothing around you changes. But second, we're not giving our power to the circumstances to change us. We are changing ourselves, and then the circumstances change.
Mm. Mm.
So when we find ourselves worried, down, frustrated, overwhelmed, what would I love? Is a great question.
Mm.
What do I want? Especially whatever's got you worried. Like I call that a domain. There's something that's got you worried. There's some circumstances happening. And we just start to look beyond it to say, how would I love for this to resolve, to be done, to be completed? How do I
Yeah.
want it?
Yeah.
And then we said, well, what would give me that now? How could I have that now? What action would I do now? And sometimes it's just as easy as being aware of it. And when we become aware of it to ask that question, so many different spaces are opened up. And we no longer can focus on that worry, that stress, that overwhelm. And we're in a different emotion for it. And we're able to step through it. And the whole situation could all be the same, yet our perspective through it is different.
Mm. And that brings about the tweaking that is needed.
That's right.
So something landed for me when you were talking, and I went, oh, and it was that my own structure is integral to the space that I want to create and the space that I'm in, which is exactly what Sindrel was encouraging me to keep on emphasizing with this young person about having faith in her intention. And it was yesterday that I wrote this quote from one of my teachers, and it goes like this: having faith in the self with a capital S is sitting at the feet of the guru. And guru means one who facilitates your path to enlightenment, which is ultimately really knowing what love is, what you are.
Can you repeat that quote again, please?
Yeah. Having faith in the self with a capital S is sitting at the feet of the guru.
Just as long as we know that the guru, as you said, facilitates, but the guru is not our answer. We are our answer in taking in what the guru
Absolutely.
is. Yes.
Absolutely. That people misunderstand the term guru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think we give too much authority and power to the guru because of that misdefinition.
Exactly. And again, that's got to do with languaging.
Yes. Because I was guilty of that. I go to events or something and, oh, the guru has the answer. And many times people like go to churches and stuff. Oh, the minister has the answer.
Mm-hmm.
No, the minister just has a long handled spoon to stir a lot of stuff up, to stir up your gift, and now you really have to figure it out. You really have to choose from your heart what is true
Mm-hmm.
for you, where you
Mm-hmm.
are, based on what you want. So you can't just
Yeah.
go sit with the guru and have the end results of what the guru is giving you mastery information on.
Yep.
Because many gurus, even so, some of them haven't even done what they're talking about, which is scary. Other
Very.
gurus have actually practiced what they're guruing on. So that's relative. And I've sat where you can't just go get answers from somewhere and not know that it is the doing something with it is what makes it happen. It's not just going from one event to another event to another event, thinking that it's going to make a difference in your life to the point where you're manifesting. You have to, like Jesse was saying, engage the emotion, the action, do the trial and errors. Let's just call them trials. Why is it trial and error? Let's just scratch that. Do the trials.
Do the experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Look for answers outside to the conflict inside of them. That's probably why many of the gurus take advantage of people, because they know that they are looking outside themselves instead of within. A true guru tries to enlighten you to let go of them, to become your own master.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
That you
Become
distinguish.
your own master.
Yeah. That's how you distinguish between a true and a false guru.
Hmm.
One says stop paying me, and the other one says keep paying me.
Yes. So on the
See
on
the
the heel,
dilemma? See the dilemma?
Guys, I have to
just
drop off for a minute. I hope I can come back. Blessings.
Bye, Sandra.
thank you, Sandra. When
Yeah,
when
that
I was,
realization that I am the guru.
yeah,
I'm my own guru.
yeah,
Yeah, and you can't sit at your own feet. It's called kneeling.
yeah. So on that topic of money, my meditation teacher was asked this very question about how do you distinguish between gurus that are holding themselves up as gurus and but aren't the real deal. And my teacher's answer was, watch what happens to the money. What do the people do with the money in the organization? How do they spend it? And I love the practicality of that.
Jesse, could you give us that statement again about true guru and false guru?
Yeah, well, I get the point that I was making was around those that want you to stop paying them, in a way, right? There's a way to move away from it, to stop paying them, and the other ones who are encouraging you to continue paying. Now, that's just more of a metaphor than it is a truth. But on the concept, on the topic of where people are taking advantage of others with their quote experience, with their expertise, their knowledge, their guruism, when it's always inside of us, each and every one of them. I mean, churches are just as guilty. Religions.
That was St. Francis of Assisi's big beef with the church, actually. People were paying for absolution.
Mm.
Yeah, everything comes down to the intention, which can be hidden for a while.
Which is why you're pointing out that it's important to ask ourselves when we come across something that is not kind to us, that we make sure that we don't engage in that kind of action. Whether it be a doing or a thinking. No judgment on us, but just awareness, right?
It's all an experiment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's always feedback, no matter what, there's always feedback.
Yes.
And how else would we get to where we're wanting to go?
Exactly.
We all think we can take one step and it's perfect and we'll be there. No,
Yep.
it's the step along the way that reveals the new places, the new opportunities, the new space, the new way to think about it. That is, can be frustrating or joyful.
Mm.
I still struggle. We all still struggle with the difference between the two, which is always just made up in our head. But that's the structure between the head and the heart.
And to remember that the space can also just be neutral.
It's the space between the head and the heart, the needs and the wants.
Mm-hmm.
The positive negatives when we can see them both from neutral.
Mm.
But when we're stuck in the positive or we're stuck in the negative, that is the only one we see. That's the highest energy charges. Those are the only ones we see.
Yeah.
And we sure don't take advantage of our neutral.
No, we don't. Well, I certainly haven't.
And the neutral is a perfect time to be practicing. What do I want?
Mm-hmm.
What would I love?
Yeah, we're making choices.
Yep. Conditioning choices. Yep. Conditioning manifestation. Conditioning creation. We do it already. It's just improving it. Oh, structure of wisdom. One. What do I want? What I love. What feeling does that give me? What is the feeling associated with it? That's the way of being that we can bring back to the current reality. How can I have that now? And then what action do I take? Those 3 steps. What do I want? Where am I? What action? Simple. Not easy. Great morning. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, this really went deep today. I appreciate it.
A lot of great talks. Why I've been missing them most of the time.
Have a great day. Until next time.
Thank you
do.
so much, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you
Love
all.
and hugs, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.